Welcome. You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide, right? By the way, we've all been watching the never-ending votes going on in the House of Representatives about Kevin McCarthy for Speaker, a role he was born to pray for and lose. And it's been a lot. We've watched the vote go away from him. Every time we've watched Hakeem Jeffries win 12 times. The only votes that have been taken in the last 3 days that Hakeem Jeffries hasn't won were motions to adjourn, where, I guess everybody comes out on top. So he kind of did win because he got to go home, or at least out to eat. And but the one of the pivotal people in this is Scott Perry. Now, Scott Perry is all wrapped up in fucking Jan 6. More so, like right up there with MTG and her sketchy activities the day before and around those days. Let's see, real quick. I'm gonna bring something up. Yeah, here's let's see. Let's go to. Yeah, here you go. Liz Cheney. Scott Perry sought pardon for role in trying to overturn the 2020 election results. He knew he was engaged in illegal activity, and he wanted his ass covered. He contacted the White House in the weeks after January 6th, to seek presidential pardons for their roles in attempting to overturn the presidential election results. Rep. Scott Perry has refused to testify here. As you will see, Representative Perry contacted the White House in the weeks after Jan 6 to seek a presidential pardon. Multiple other Republican congressmen also sought presidential pardon for their roles in attempting to overturn the 2020 election. The new details surfaced during the panel's first public hearing. This was way back in June, whatever, July, June. June. And it's like he was central to it. This is not one of the, like just maybe Lone Bobert was like, the speaker's nearby. The speaker is nearby. Roger Wilco, over and out. He was behind the effort to lead up to the day and help execute it and carry it out on the day. So he's a special kind of asshole that's kind of operated, because he's not as loud normally as everybody else. It's kind of operated behind the scenes in this. Yeah. Here, I'll show you. Check this out. I think this is his statement. Yeah, GOP holdout cites trust issue. This is about his issues with McCarthy. And let's just hear his.
We got to get right now to Pennsylvania Congressman-elect Scott Perry. He's the incoming.
Okay, this is just him. This is an interview. I have footage of him on the floor as well, I think, that we grabbed as well. But this is his, this dude is smarmy and creepy and traitorous as they come.
Freedom Caucus chair, one of the lawmakers leading the charge against McCarthy. He joins us now. Congressman-elect.
He said leaving the charge. It's a Freudian slip. He meant leading.
Thank you for hanging with us. Appreciate it. So here's what we understand from reporting what was talked about overnight here with McCarthy. Reported concessions to the House Freedom Caucus, one-member threshold on the motion to vacate the chair, 2 seats for the Freedom Caucus and the House Rules Committee and other committees, a vote at least on.
By the way, if you have one member of the Freedom Caucus of that group on the Rules Committee, they're just going to stop every bill. Budget, everything. There are no must passes. The must pass bills still have to go through the Rules Committee. They can stop them there. That's why. They want to override the Speaker's ability to bring a bill to the floor. That's why. And giving them seats on the Rules Committee with no recourse, because none of their constituents give a fuck if the whole country burns down. So if you do that, you just fuck yourself. There's no way. The Speaker has no more role. That person is the de facto shadow Speaker.
On term limits and standalone votes on 12 individual appropriations bills. Is there a deal done at this point, Congressman-elect?
Well, thanks for asking. First of all, there is no agreement whatsoever, and it's disappointing that confidences are betrayed.
Well, that's not fair. He says there is no agreement whatsoever. There is agreement amongst 200 Republicans that you guys shouldn't get this shit. There's just no agreement between these two factions.
about the details of
And all Republicans agree, you guys look like fucking clowns.
internal meetings, and it exemplifies Washington, D.C. and the trust factor that is causing the impasse that is occurring right before your eyes.
Yes, he does not trust you guys. McCarthy does not trust that if he gives you those things, you will not misuse them. You are insurrectionists, you are psychopaths, and he also has been seeking power this entire time and doesn't want to hand it over to you fuckers to turn him into a marionette, because that's what they want. I don't know why they can't grasp that McCarthy and the other Republicans have no reason to trust the Freedom Caucus. None. Because there's no fucking way Chip Roy's going to play nice if you put him on the Rules Committee. He's just going to stop everything. And he knows it. He knows he's lying to get in the door. It's a home invasion. Hey, my car broke down. They don't trust that once you get inside, you're not going to blow the fucking place up and kill everybody. That's why. And they shouldn't, because you participated in Jan 6, and you would again if you could.
It's a trust issue with...
Yes, it is. You guys are untrustworthy. McCarthy may be untrustworthy because of strategy on your side of things. But these fuckers are untrustworthy on a national level.
The gentleman who wants to be Speaker, you can just reference his former boss, member of Congress, and what he says about Kevin McCarthy. It is hard to restore trust in just a month or two, and it's really hard when you betray confidences in a meeting where the details are then leaked out to the press. So there is no agreement.
But Scott Perry is admitting that the shit that McCarthy said about Gates and all that shit, that's true. And Lauren Boebert said it wasn't true and that McCarthy lied. But Perry's saying, no, he came out and leaked, because you can't leak a lie, as we often say.
At this time. But I will tell you this, we are looking for transformational change in the swamp and the uniparty in Washington.
The uniparty and the establishment. We've got to fight the deep state.
D.C. that doesn't work for the American people, that works for Washington, D.C. And we're not going to leave until we have that. We are here.
By the way, has anybody else noticed how much these fuckers on, the entire spread of the Republicans all come to the floor when they do make a speech, when they're nominating somebody or whatever? It is the greatest honor of my life to serve in this hallowed hall with the body doing the people's work. And then as soon as they step out, they're like, what a fucking dump. This place is evil. They don't do anything right. It's like, again, that level of duplicity should say something to you.
Here to fight for the American people. Everybody knows this town is broken. Everybody knows it.
No, it isn't. It reflects the populace, their varying differences in opinion and education and information and priority, and that's what life looks like. No. The Republican Party is broken because they bash themselves in the forehead with a mallet.
But no one wants to do anything about it. This is our opportunity, and we're going to take it.
The max vote that anybody else who's been nominated by your party has gotten 20. How do you expect to get to 218 with anybody else, and who is that?
Well, as I've said, I've never made this personal. I started negotiating in the summertime, so it's not about Kevin McCarthy or anybody else. It's about...
Well, tell Lauren Boebert.
Anybody that's willing to embrace these fundamental...
Yes, my thing is, it's not personal. I just want to be Speaker without being Speaker. That's what he's fucking talking about. Let's be abundantly clear. The noisy ones, Gates, Boebert, those fuckers, even Gosar to some degree, they are all playing at this like, we can build a collective little group and we can fight back against our own version of the establishment and blah, blah, blah. This motherfucker wants to be Speaker, and there is no way he ever gets anywhere near the votes, much less fucking nominated in any meaningful way. So the only chance he's got is to be shadow Speaker. That's what's going on with Scott Perry, 100%. And he's creepy and dangerous and absolutely one of the architects around Jan 6.
Fundamental changes and give us the tools and the personnel. It's whoever can get 218. If Kevin McCarthy will embrace these changes, I suspect he can get to 218. But if he will not...
If he embraces those changes, then he's not the speaker.
Then he can't, and somebody else will have to.
No one who wants to be speaker will let you make them a marionette. And if they do, they're not the speaker. You're basically, I mean, you're going to have to fucking find somebody you can bribe or threaten.
Let me come back, if I could, Congressman-elect,
to planet Earth.
This idea of negotiations, compromises being made to the House Freedom Caucus. You say that there's no deal at this point, but is there?
No. I mean, it's not like they haven't been pretending to listen.
One in the works that could get him to either 218 or with some.
Did you see that? No.
Abstentions or voting present or whatever, get him to a number in which he becomes speaker.
So once again, it would be unfaithful of me to characterize any negotiations that may or may not be occurring, you know, after going out and complaining about other folks that are doing it. So I'm just going to say there is no agreement at this time. You can see the votes are occurring, and we're asking for transformational change, not for ourselves, but for the people we came here to represent. And some of the things, go ahead.
But if I could, just as I asked Kellyanne Conway.
Also, motherfucker, you're in the House. You're one of like 435 fucking seats. The idea that, you know, a small pocket of them, you know, to some degree, like the Senate with 100 members, one person being able to Mr. Smith their way through it, you know, has some, you know, the ROI on it is questionable. But in the House, it's fucking worthless. It's just, basically, these guys just want the ability to yank the chain anytime they want.
The posture of Kevin McCarthy going into the House today, in lieu of the negotiations that took place last night and again this morning, he said, I wouldn't read anything into the votes today. That was suggestive to me and to Kellyanne that there is something in the works here, and that what we're looking at right now is just pro forma, but in the days ahead, there could be a vote that gets him to the magic number.
Well, wouldn't you expect him to say that? I mean, this is politics. Of course he's going to put things in the best light, and he's going to spin it. You expect that. You have to be able to read.
By the way, you're a politician too, motherfucker. You took a job in Washington. You're not a fucking mayor. He's not a state legislator. He didn't go, you know what, I don't fucking like Washington, but I like helping the people and doing their business, so I'm running for fucking governor. No. That asshole took a job to get him out of town 60% of the year.
Through that and see what's actually occurring. Right now, he doesn't have 218. He didn't have it yesterday. And, you know, chances are if nothing changes, he won't have it tomorrow.
Amid this process, you recently said Washington is broken. And we're clearly watching what appears to be a split party with no consensus on who your party is going to elect to be Speaker of the House. Do you worry the damage this is doing after flipping the House and obviously noting that this is putting the Republican agenda on delay?
Of course not. Excuse me, miss. This guy represents the kind of constituency that hates government. They hate it. That's why they elected him. You think they want a good shepherd? They want somebody to screw the pooch.
Taking a few days to change essentially what has gone wrong over the...
Look at him, by the way. Here he goes.
There's a deal in the works, and it's going to be done in a few days?
Well, I don't know, but what's taking place right now is taking a few days. So what I'm saying is, since this hasn't happened for 100 years, where we had a contested speaker's vote, if it takes a few days in that 100 years to get it right and to get Washington back on track, Washington has lost its way.
No, it really hasn't. I mean, you could argue that it did during the Trump years, but it's kind of moved back and functioned quite well.
You can tell just 13 days ago, yet again, $1.7 trillion bill sent in the middle of the night, Christmas Eve, 7,000 earmarks in it, Christmas tree up.
Right, and everyone in your fucking caucus and everyone in the House had gone through the committee hearings and the appropriations committee and all that shit, and each one of you had members on each of those panels, each of those budgetary committees that could go through, and if you had any fucking questions about it, you can go, what happened here? They'll walk you the fuck through it. If you give a shit, which they don't, because they don't care, because they want the government to fail.
America is tired of this. Their voices are not.
No, they're not. America clicks the terms of service on iTunes without batting a fucking eye. They don't go, God damn it. Every 3 months, I got to go through this whole fucking thing.
Being heard. So if you got to spend a couple days to get it right, it is worth
You're not getting it right, though, dumbass.
it.
You're just prolonging the obvious. Nobody, all right, if Kevin McCarthy gives in to these guys, there are more people on the other side who won't vote for him. If he gives them what they want, the other people are gone. He loses more votes on the other side than he gains kissing these guys' ass. If he gained all 21 by giving them everything they wanted, 60 other votes on the other side would just say nope. And then we're in round 2 of this shit.
So, Congressman, let me ask you, in terms of just where we're going here in
You're going, he in particular is going up his own ass.
the days ahead. The Democrats are obviously loving this process.
I feel seen.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez seemed to give some credence to Kat Kammick's
Alexandria, it's a female. Never mind.
observation about alcohol, saying that if Democrats were doing shots every time that there was an unsuccessful vote, they'd be passed out by now. But Brad Sherman posited that if McCarthy becomes Speaker, he may have to make deals with Democrats because he won't be able to make them with the House Freedom Caucus. And I'm wondering
Well, that's not
if
that's absolutely not true.
Yeah, it is. Because if he gains you guys, he loses other people. This asshole actually thinks the rest of the caucus, which is voting against him, thinks exactly the way he does.
We're always interested in working with Republicans, and we don't want our speaker to be working with Democrats. As long as the speaker...
He has to, though. That's his only choice, stupid. Well, that's not true. His other choice is to oversee the only, I guess, House session that accomplishes nothing and wrecks the U.S. economy and sets our forward momentum in technology and in infrastructure, all this stuff back 35 years. That's his other option.
Is true to what we believe in as Republicans across the board. We're going to be in fine shape. We just have to get this worked out and get.
Yeah, it's just a thing. We're just, it's about cross our T's, dot our I's. It's fine. It's a little thing. It's just a we're not moving and they're not moving, and they won't move and we won't move, and that's, it's just a little thing.
Get the tools in place, and again, sometimes with the personnel, to have transformative change so we don't keep ending up with the same thing. What we keep doing is the same thing with the same people under the same conditions and expecting a different outcome.
No. We want a democracy. We want a functioning democracy. Yeah, transformative. This is, dude, he's using this like some lefties say revolution. Revolution is the 6-minute abs of democracy. Fuck that. It takes work. It's boring. They call it the sausage making because they think it's gross. It's more like tinkering. It's just like constant repairs. It's like you're always working on the tank to keep it rolling.
I don't know why we would keep doing that.
But if I could just finish the question that I had for you, Congressman-elect, if McCarthy...
Yeah, by the way, you're not a congressman yet. Just saying.
As Speaker, and I know this is a hypothetical, were to cut a deal with Democrats...
It's a hypothetical.
Instead of cutting one with the House Freedom Caucus, how would you react, particularly if there is a one-member threshold for a motion to vacate the chair?
Well, I think, quite honestly, forget how I would react. I bet the other Republicans in the room would not appreciate that very much either. No one appreciates being betrayed, not just the members of the Freedom Caucus. Any Republican would take that as an act of combat.
An act of combat. This, by the way, this is the guy who was involved in January 6th. Fuck you, dude.
Congressman, can you just give us some idea? You just mentioned you've been working on this since last summer.
What do you mean by combat? You're like greased up like Greco-Roman, or are you talking like slingshot versus spear? What do you think?
Just give us some indication of the tone of the meetings with Kevin McCarthy.
fuck you. No, fuck you. No, fuck you. No, fuck you. That's basically
McCarthy, these ongoing negotiations and discussions and what that's like?
Well, in the summertime, he was disinterested, quite honestly. Even in the fall, he was disinterested.
Because he thought he was going to win a red wave and he didn't need you fuckers. And then you guys, because you're in safe districts, fucked it up.
Interested because he expected a 240-seat majority, this big red wave, and people and the views of people that he can dismiss are irrelevant. It was only because we had a slim majority.
It's only because Scott Perry and people like him almost made the Republicans lose the House, and will over the next couple of months. Stay tuned. That he had literally, there's an argument that they themselves sabotaged a lot of the Republican messaging in these kind of purplish districts just to guarantee themselves more power.
That he needed to come to the table. So none of these changes that are necessary, that everybody in the conference agrees with, by the way, they don't like the process, I get it. I don't love it either. But none of these changes would be on the table if the slim majority didn't exist. And so we have to take this opportunity to make the changes necessary to make.
Yeah, but you don't have a mandate. The Republicans don't have a major mandate because they've got a hair's breadth, control of the House. But certainly a minority of a hair's breadth mandate is not a power play. That's the ego part here. These motherfuckers think this is time to make their move. They're acting like there was a red wave. They're acting like they have more control, or like the red wave did happen because of them.
Make Congress work for the American people.
Okay. All right, Congressman-elect Scott Perry, the Keystone State, thank you. We'll let you go vote. I assume you'll be voting for Byron Donalds.
I will be, thank you.
And by the way,
I will be, thank you, because I don't expect him, he doesn't have anywhere near the votes, so I can just say that, and it's wonderful. Then I can pat myself on the back and tell my constituents that I'm not racist after all, no matter what was found in my crawl space.
run back out to the camera if you feel the need to do so. We'll be here for a couple hours.
All right, God bless you.
All right, thanks for joining us.
I'm Steve Deuce.
Yes, you are. Holy shit. Just a fucking mess. By the way, let me see if I can find this. Yeah, here it is. This is, I think this is him on the floor, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here you go. This is,
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I mean,
oh, hold on. Wait, jump in here. Sorry, my bad. Clicking here.
from Pennsylvania, rise.
Madam Speaker, to nominate the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Donalds.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you.
Now, pay close attention to this. First of all, he sucks at this.
Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter what your political persuasion, one thing is universally recognized across this country. Washington is broken.
Is Washington broken? I think it's just your party. The rest of Washington just operates like a large organization that just has a lot of moving parts, and if you don't get what you want out of it, it's easy to find multiple reasons why it didn't actually happen instead of taking responsibility for it or better articulating your position. Like any giant organization, you could go to find a newspaper, and at any point you could find Amazon is fucked. Amazon is broken. Amazon, the stock went down, and then they had a problem with their truckers in one area, and they're losing a factory here. Blah, blah. You could look up enough stories and get this mental picture. If you curate what you're looking at, Amazon's fucked. Still didn't stop the box from ending up on your doorstep today.
Washington is completely broken. Whether it's a wide open border, millions
the border's not open.
of people streaming across.
Millions of people are not streaming across. Title 42 is creating the illusion that there are more people because crossings are up, because people try and are sent back.
Terrorists, criminals, fentanyl coming right to your community. Not at the border, but into your community. Overdoses happening in your towns. Funerals happening in your town.
Funerals? In my town? Never.
Because the border's open, because
the border's open. Because the fentanyl is just flowing just and MS-13, and also brown people.
This place is broken.
Because DC is broken. Never mind the fact that, like, McCarthy, will more than likely bring some sort of, like, immigration bill to the floor along, because of pressure from the Senate and because it'll show up and Democrats are going to leverage that in the next few months. After Biden goes to the border, that's what they're going to be pushing, by the way, is comprehensive immigration reform. And these motherfuckers would get a good portion of what they pretend to want. But what they would lose is much greater, which is the ability to demonize the border as a source so that they can manipulate their voters.
12 days ago, in the middle of the night, 4,000 pages showed up over here.
No, they didn't. Those pages were just put in an order, but they've been around all year. Dumbass.
6.5 or 2.7 1.7. Sorry.
That's all right. You didn't read it. Doesn't matter.
1.7.
I knew it. You guys knew it. The chat room knew it. He knew it. She knew it. This guy didn't know it.
$7 trillion in spending, 7,200 earmarks, 24 hours time to read it.
No, you had all year. You had all year. You had all year.
Like a Christmas tree right before Christmas.
That makes no sense. A Christmas tree right before Christmas would be lovely. You wouldn't have to put it up and pop, there it is. Christmas tree right before. How much does he think Christmas trees cost? They're actually cheaper the closer you get to... never mind.
Nobody outside of this town wanted.
Nobody wanted a Christmas tree right before Christmas. We already got a Christmas tree. Fuck that. Who wants two Christmas... Oh, I have two Christmas trees. Never mind.
If you've been here for 1 year, you voted on that once. If you've been here for 3 years, you voted on the same thing 3 times. If you've been here for 10 years, you voted on it 10 times.
Yeah, because there's a new budget that needs to be put forward or a continuing resolution because... Has this guy ever been on, like, a board of directors at a corporation?
Washington is broken.
It's broken. It's broken. It's broken. I don't know if you know it's broken. You know what I mean? We shouldn't have to do this every year. If you've been coming here for 10 years, you've been doing the thing you need to do every year for 10 years. What the fuck is that?
We got crime.
So it's not broken.
Running across the streets.
Crime running across the streets? What, are they trying to get away from you? There's crime. Well, jaywalking is a crime. I mean, it's a minor one, but...
No matter what community you're in.
Well, as long as it crosses the streets when it sees me.
Because now this town has decided that somehow the criminals aren't understood. And we've abandoned the victims. This is what...
It's largely a state issue. Again, nothing that says this motherfucker couldn't have just stayed home. What? Here's a good idea. Run for DA, dumbass.
What people in our country are dealing with.
Mm-hmm. What else?
We are funding wars and...
Oh, here we go. Why is it frozen? What happened? What's going on? They didn't like it. Hold on. Got to reload the page. Pardon me.
For what purpose?
Read it like a Christmas tree right times. Washington is broken. Because now this town has decided that somehow the criminals aren't understood. And we've abandoned the victims. This is what people in our country are dealing with. We are funding wars and...
Froze again.
Own military because the countries, while we're destroying our own military because this town is broken.
Destroying our own military? The military budget was $854 billion.
We have an administration that
I don't know why he's freezing up. Maybe God's just intervening so that we don't have to deal with this bullshit.
to persecute and prosecute them because this town is using the instruments of federal power to persecute and prosecute them because this town is broken.
Well, prosecuting them is actually their job. Persecution is obviously a matter of opinion.
This place is
He's talking about the Jan 6ers. But
literally broken. There hasn't been an amendment on the floor for 6 years in this town.
gee, and so many bills passed, including ones that Trump signed like and all you did was clap.
So if you're not on the committee of jurisdiction, but it affects your citizens, well, too bad for you. You just vote yes or you just vote no. That's not how this place was designed to be.
Well, sure it was. If you don't like it, join the Senate.
We vote on bills that have all kinds of things that have nothing to do with the bill itself. Everybody came here because they said to their constituents, this town is broken.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't, stupid. And the ones that did were lying.
And I want to fix it.
No, they didn't.
Well, how are you going to fix it if you come to this town and just step right in line and keep doing the same things that everybody has done before you?
Well, you are joining a tradition that's almost 240 years old, fucko, and this country is humped along. Thank God you're here to save us from ourselves. Rep. Scott Perry. America. Oh, she was this close to just going away forever. Thank God. Here he is, our white knight.
It's not going to fix it.
Hans. Booby. I'm your white knight.
The American people know it. And I would say...
No, I disagree. I think this is hack bullshit.
Say this. I think the person that has done the most to make this fabulous, this wonderful Republican majority is Speaker Pelosi and her
Fabulous. She's made it fabulous.
Her policies.
By the way, he's not supposed to name check her on the floor. That's against the rules. You're supposed to address the clerk or the presiding officer.
That's what has achieved this majority over here, because the American people are sick and tired of it, and they've had enough of it. Now, this is not about personalities.
Because you don't have one.
It's not about personalities.
I don't have a personality.
It's about the policies that come out of here. This is not about personalities on this side of the aisle or that side of the aisle. We believe, and we want to believe.
Yeah, that's what they're finally calling for order, because he addressed her.
We believe, and we want to believe, that every person that comes here, left, right, center, has the best intentions for our country. The best intentions for our country.
Except Marge and Lauren and Matt and me and Gosar. I don't know what the fuck that fucking dude.
And it's not about the personalities in this contest.
Yes, I agree. Kevin McCarthy does not have a personality. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's not a personality.
It is not.
It's like facial autopilot.
Personal for us.
It is for Lauren Boebert.
But because we all acknowledge and we all know that Washington is broken.
No, it isn't. Your party is broken. Fix your shit.
We must take a new path. There must be a new vision.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? We need success outside of government. Government's not the answer to everything. That's why I, Scott Perry, this very day, resign in protest, along with all of my friends in the Freedom Caucus. We've all decided to start a pineapple farm in the Bahamas.
So that Congress
at Sam Bankman-Fried's old place
works for the American people. Because the American people are watching what's happening here, and they've watched what's happened here, and they're sure in their hearts, and they can prove it, that this town works for this town.
Again, this is, you know what we're actually watching? Can I point out something? You know that Reagan shit about the 7 most frightening words is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. This is the natural extension of that shit. That used to be fucking cute. When he said it, it was kind of wink and a nod that there was, Obviously, Republicans at that time believed in the function of government and the power of government overall. So they just kind of, this was just like them bullshitting their own constituents. Now those constituents have grown up, and that's who this fucker is. This guy was, you know, fucking 17 or some shit, or 19 when Reagan said that. And now he's running for office on that nonsense. That's what this is. This is where it heads. This is one of the reasons why I don't ever let slide calls for violence, for example, on my show. Because all it takes is a toehold, and then it grows into something tremendously fucked.
That's who this town is working for.
Again, the fuck are you talking about? Then what are you doing there? And by the way, what, one half of DC is doing it? The other half, which is Republican, you guys are trying your best. Every night you're Sisyphus. You're rolling that fucking rock of freedom up the hill, and it always rolls right back over you with AOC on top of it like a fucking unicycle.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are making history today.
Embarrassing. Pathetic history. But sure.
We are making history in this process. And we are showing the American people that this process works. Yeah, it's been about 100 years. It's been about 100 years since this has happened before. But we have said we're not going to take any more of Washington being broken. We're going to do something for the American people.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with Washington, fucko. This is 100% their fight with Kevin McCarthy. This is not a fight with Washington. I don't know who the fuck you think you're shadow boxing with, but it's nobody but you. It's Luke Skywalker fighting with Darth Vader and seeing his own head in the mask.
And we're going to fix it. And is it going to be painful?
Except in a bad way, and reverse that. And it's like if Darth Vader was fighting Luke, and he cut his head off and it rolled away, and it was never mind.
And is it going to be difficult? Yeah, it probably is. That's why it took 100 years.
It didn't take 100 years. They had dysfunction, and they went, fuck that shit. That's not helpful to anybody. And they managed to keep it functioning until you assholes showed up.
It probably is. But we're going to do it. And we can also make history today by making the first...
Will the House be in order?
That's a good question.
Electing the first black Republican Speaker of the House. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Democrats applauding it because they know that this is inserious. This is fucking gross, by the way. He knows Byron Donalds does not have the votes. As a matter of fact, there are other black members of the House that might get closer, might get more votes, but they don't want him to get too full of himself. So they're picking the one that they can pick off the quickest. It's fucking gross.
Now, as my colleagues probably know,
Byron has no fucking shot.
First black members of Congress to serve in this body were Republicans.
Yes, before they switched over and joined the Dixiecrats.
Were Republicans. As a matter,
they left the Republican Party, and then the Dixiecrats came over and joined the Republican Party, which is the party he's in.
Matter of fact, you probably also know that Frederick Douglass, who went and worked with
who's doing a lot of good work lately, I hear.
Abraham Lincoln to emancipate the people of color in this country, said he would
emancipate?
Never be anything but a Republican. Would never be anything but a Republican.
Yeah, but his choice at the time was like Southern slaveholder or Whig or some shit. It's like saying I'd never be a libertarian in the Old West.
I am here to nominate Byron Donalds because he has accomplished many things. He is a man of faith.
Mm-hmm.
He is a family man. He is a businessman, and he is a man of community service. He's come from the school of hard knocks, because not all outcomes in life are equal, but America is the place where we can each do great things regardless of our humble beginnings, each one of us. Now, Byron is a product of single family where it's not easy. It's not easy.
A single family? Is it? It's a product of a single family. He didn't have two families like the rest of us. He's the product of a triple family.
But he has succeeded in
I think he means a single mother or a single father or single parent household, a single family.
America.
He just had one family, just the one.
And that's a testament to what we have created here and what we're trying to save. He's got a record of accomplishing things. He has a record.
Yeah, he accomplished getting his weed and bribery arrest expunged using the policies and legislative successes of the Democratic Party to, I shouldn't have brought that up.
Of being on the right side. He is respected, he is trusted, he is capable, and he achieves results.
And best of all, there's no way he's getting more than like 22 votes. Not happening.
Now, Byron has a big mind, and he's big in stature as well. He's very nice, but I will tell you this, in a negotiation... In a negotiation with Chuck Schumer, I sure will want to be on the other side of Byron Donalds. He knows who he is, he knows what his foundation is, and he knows that Washington is broken, and what Chuck Schumer's...
And I bet Chuck Schumer's afraid of a big black guy. Fuck you, dude. Wouldn't you be scared if a black guy was yelling at you? I mean...
sends over here isn't going to work out for the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington is broken.
Is it broken, though? Did you mention... Did he say Washington's broken yet? I missed it.
Byron Donalds...
is not broken, but he could be persuaded to be broken.
Will inspire us and restore our citizens' faith that this institution actually works for them.
By the way, Charlie Kirk was like, yeah, no, there's no fucking way Byron Donalds is ever going to be speaker. So they just folded the Big Tent up mid-circus. By the way, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Can there's some inside scoop on this. I don't know if I'll do this whole clip. I just want to see the beginning of this because the title made me laugh. Since I'll go a little bit late tonight because it's been a long day, believe me. So here we go.
Should mention it.
This, by the way, this is I spoke to Trump and he's getting annoyed. Dick Morris. I spoke to Trump and he's getting annoyed.
All right, some breaking news. We continue to monitor the voting that's going on. Some changes in this go-round, although the outcome for Kevin McCarthy, unfortunately, not going to be successful in the
in 4 more after this
eighth
one.
vote for Speaker of the House. We have seen a change.
If he was annoyed at 8, imagine how he feels now.
Lauren Boebert voting for Kevin Hearn of Oklahoma instead. We've seen Josh Brecheen, the congressman from Oklahoma, also voting in this case for McCarthy, going back.
So that was a big switch, right?
Yeah.
That was amazing. I felt so good, and then he lost one more. Fucking president.
One of those 20
his vote,
who
so that
voted
was
against.
good news. We thought maybe that was something that
was great. Big turning point there, where there was some contraction.
was going his way, McCarthy's way, in this go-round. But there's not going to be enough. There aren't going to be enough votes.
Yeah, it went that way, and then it went back that way.
Votes to change
And then
the
it kept going that way. And then somebody was like, maybe. I'm like, no.
outcome here.
Right. We're going to check in now with our senior White House correspondent, John Gizzi. John, what do you have for us?
John, tell us.
Team McCarthy.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm looking. Am I on the wrong fucking page? Wait. Because that's the... Nope. That's the whole house. They're just talking over this.
He is excited.
I thought for a second... Honestly, I thought for a second they were, they're just not cutting to people.
And again, optimistic after a few votes have changed, albeit, as Bob pointed out, not enough. It should be noted that there will be a move, as Kilman
Hype train. Thank you, guys.
reported, to adjourn or have a recess after this vote and then have a full conference meeting where everything can be ironed out.
Yeah, by the way, it was not ironed out. Still wrinkly and smelly and needed to be steamed, quite frankly.
It is true that the deal insisted on by the Club for Growth, that is, that McCarthy's own leadership pack not get involved in primaries, was agreed to, and what is reportedly remaining is the question of whether Freedom Caucus members can go on the Rules Committee, as they've insisted. Now, it should be pointed out that the Speaker...
Yeah, by the way, it was ultimately about money, that they want more money guaranteed to them from the from the PAC, from the Speaker's PAC, than they deserve.
Simply can't assign.
Level 1 hype train. By the way, thank you guys. I'm sorry I've been paying so much attention to this. You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Please like, subscribe, give a thumbs up if you feel like it. Support the show if you can, and if you can't, relax, enjoy it. And thank the people who do, because we love them, and if it wasn't for our Patreons, we wouldn't be here.
Committee assignments, this has to be determined in meetings to be held after a Congress is sworn in. So the impasse is keeping the Freedom Caucus from reaching their goals in effect. One more thing, I talked within the last hour to Congressman John Mullinar of Michigan, who repeated what he said yesterday. All 202 members of Team McCarthy are staying with their man.
Good to know?
No, that turned out not to be the case. He lost 2.
Thank you very much. Let's bring in now Dick Morris to join the conversation as we continue to monitor.
Yes. Again, the 8th vote. And we're also going to bring in host, did we say Dick Morris? Yes, Dick Morris, host of Dick Morris Democracy, and of course,
and Doug Collins, former congressman
Doug
from.
Collins.
And Doug, as somebody who has cast your vote for Speaker before, your thoughts on how this is unfolding, and the 8th vote for Speaker that, again, Kevin McCarthy will not win.
Well, I think the problem is now, as I think was said earlier, this is becoming not just policy but personal as well. And you still got 5 out there who said they will never, ever, never, ever vote for Kevin McCarthy. I'm not sure how you overcome that. And that would then mean you'd have to start having people vote present. You'd have to start playing with the numbers a little bit. That's going to be different.
Hold on. Did they ever get to these motherfuckers, or they just play the video and just talk over it like radio? Oh, I can't, like, the only good part of looking at, Dick Morris whine about shit is if you see him scouring. And by the way, I would like to thank Bruce Kulick and his lovely wife Lisa for inviting me to roast him on New Year's, and he just sent me a text with some pictures from the evening, and I look forward to watching them later. And when that pops up on I have to say, I'm fanboying just a little bit because of 80s teen Hal never mind. It's just cool.